court, I mean, what are your thoughts of your point guard?
I mean, she a little killer. Hey, man, I said, look, let me move out your way.
Let's stop it right there. Let me move out of your way. Y'all think Kelsey Mitchell was saying, let me move out of your way, Kate?
Let me move out of your way. 5 words from a max contract veteran to a rookie point guard. 5 words that just exposed everything wrong with the Indiana Fever. Because while Minnesota's Courtney Williams is stepping aside for Olivia Miles, over in Indianapolis, Stephanie White is doing the exact opposite to Caitlin Clark. And the contrast is impossible to ignore.
Hey, man, I said, look, let me move out your way. Let me move out your way and move to the 2 and let you do what you do best. So, I mean, happy to have her, happy to be back in my natural position, and she out here killing it, man. So, like I said, man, this little joker here, like a little baby Chelsea Gray. Like, she gonna be cold. She gonna be so cold. So, I'm excited just to be a part of the journey.
Courtney Williams is on a max contract. She's a championship caliber guard. And in her own words, she's happy to slide to the 2 and let a rookie run the offense. That's what winning culture looks like. That's what a Hall of Fame head coach in Cheryl Reeve builds. Now watch what Reeve says about that same rookie after a loss.
What was your assessment of him first look in a full regular season game? How do you think she played tonight?
She played great. She played great. I mean, she did a lot of things well. She learned a lot, I'm sure. You know, it's her first game. But she was big time for us.
Coach, y'all came out.
And you know, Cheryl Reeves isn't in this.
She was big time. That's Cheryl Reeve, a coach known for being blunt, demanding, sometimes harsh, praising her rookie point guard after a regular season opener loss. No qualifiers. No, we need to take the ball out of her hands more. No deflection to a front court hub. Just unconditional belief in the player she drafted to run her team.
It's special. You know, again, I have that support from my teammates and essentially my right-hand man on the court. The 1-2 punch, it means everything to have her belief in me and trust to run the one. The one is not easy, and she knows that. And it's a big responsibility. And, you know, she gave it to me with open arms, and she's excited to be on the receiving end of passes instead of having to bring it up 94 feet with pressure every time. So just excited to do that for her and help our team out in any way I can.
Listen to that. She gave it to me with open arms. That's a rookie describing what it feels like to be trusted, to be empowered, to have a veteran say, I'll move so you can shine. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you heard Caitlin Clark describe her relationship with Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston in those terms? You haven't, because that's not happening in Indiana.
White says about having the ball in Caitlin Clark's hands.
To that point, I've watched a lot of Aaliyah Boston and Unrivaled even coming into this, and she is such a powerhouse in the league. Even spins and mesh that.
C and AB to do what they do in the 2-man game. You probably aren't going to see it necessarily on the first side of the floor anymore. Everybody's game plan is ready for that. I think playing through AB as a hub and inverting some of those actions.
Oh my God, this hub thing. This girl makes me want to vomit.
This is the smoking gun right here. Stephanie White's words. Playing through AB as a hub. Inverting some of those actions. You probably aren't going to see it on the first side of the floor anymore. Translation, we are systematically removing the ball from the hands of the player who finished second in MVP voting last year. The player who set the WNBA single-season assists record. The player whose jersey is the highest selling in league history. That's not coaching, that's malpractice. Compare that to Cheryl Reeve's approach. Reeve is building her entire offense around Olivia Miles in Game 1, not in Year 3, not after Miles proves herself for a season and a half, Game 1. Because Reeve watched the tape, saw what Miles can do, and decided the smart move was to let her cook. Stephanie White watched Caitlin Clark set the rookie scoring record, win Rookie of the Year, and lead the Fever to the playoffs. And her response was to install Aaliyah Boston as the offensive hub.
Too much, man.
I mean, she showed last year that she can be a point forward, so to speak. I mean, she handled a lot of our ball handling duties with Caitlin off the floor. We want to play through her. We want those two to be able to play off of one another. But we also got to create space for Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell is an elite guard who can get her shot off at any time, who can get downhill, who can create matchup problems, who can create rotations to allow Aaliyah and Caitlin's job to be.
That is what we have. That is what you have to deal with. You see that it's polar opposites.
We also got to create space for Kelsey Mitchell. There it is. The quiet part said out loud. The whole offensive philosophy in Indiana is built around making sure Kelsey Mitchell gets her shots. Not the generational talent, not the franchise cornerstone, not the player who single-handedly tripled the league's television revenue. Kelsey Mitchell, a career 6th pick who has never won anything of consequence at any level. And let's address this directly because it matters. Kelsey Mitchell was the leading scorer on a Fever team that won 13 games before Caitlin Clark arrived. 13. The Fever were the worst team in the league, with Kelsey Mitchell as their featured option. Then Caitlin Clark walks in the door. The franchise is suddenly worth 9 figures more in valuation, attendance triples, and the response is to keep building around the player who couldn't win with the keys handed to her for 6 straight seasons.
You mentioned like it's hard to play the one. Like, how did you get kind of so good at making those drop passes with bigs that you really have only met like 2 weeks ago?
That was my year at TCU, literally, just learning how to be efficient in pick and roll reads because I knew it would translate well to the league. And then obviously in the league, you're playing with pros and girls with sticky hands who can grab everything. And obviously when Fee gets back, I heard she's got the best hands of them all, so I'm excited to drop some more dimes to her for sure.
Olivia Miles spent her last year at TCU specifically preparing for pick-and-roll reads at the pro level. She studied it, she drilled it, she built her game around it because she knew that's how modern basketball works. Cheryl Reeve recognized that and immediately handed her the offense. Meanwhile, Stephanie White spent training camp telling everyone the Clark-Boston pick-and-roll would be unstoppable. Then Game 1 arrived, and she scrapped the entire concept, said it out loud, said you won't see it on the strong side anymore because teams are loaded for it. Here's what good coaches do when defenses load up on an action. They run counters. They use the threat of that action to generate something else. They don't abandon the action that made their offense work in the first place, especially when that action features the most talented passer in the history of the league. You don't take the basketball out of Caitlin Clark's hands because defenses are paying attention to her. You weaponize that attention.
The polar opposite is what is happening in Indiana, guys. It's the complete opposite. You see how Courtney Williams has leaned into Olivia Miles, leaned into Olivia Miles' style of play, leaned into Olivia Miles having the ball in her hands. Meanwhile, in Indiana, all they trying to do is take the damn ball out of Caitlin Clark's hand. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Live when you hear that from someone like Court, who's been in the league as long as she has.
This is what frustrates anyone who watches basketball at a high level. Cheryl Reeve has 4 championship rings. She's the most decorated head coach in WNBA history, and her instinct with a brand new rookie point guard is to get out of the way and let her run the show. Stephanie White has 0 WNBA championships. She has 1 Coach of the Year award from a season where she had the most talented roster in the league. And her instinct is to override the generational talent and route the offense through a center who shot 46% on twos last season. The numbers tell the story. Last year, Caitlin Clark averaged 19 points and 8.4 assists, despite playing in an offense that was, by every advanced metric, one of the most poorly designed in the league. Indiana finished bottom 5 in offensive rating in half-court situations. They were elite in transition, where Clark could just play, and dreadful when White actually had to draw something up. That's not a player problem. That's a coaching problem.
That is what we have. That is what you have to deal with. You see it's polar opposites. You have Cheryl Reeves, Courtney Williams leaning into Olivia Miles. You have Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell doing the complete opposite with Caitlin Clark. It's disgusting work. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think.
So here we are, 2 rookie point guards, 2 franchises, 2 completely opposite approaches. And the gap between them tells you everything you need to know about what's broken in Indianapolis. In Minnesota, a veteran max contract guard says publicly that she's stepping aside to let the rookie run the team. The head coach uses words like big time and she's going to be so close. The rookie talks about belief and trust and being received with open arms. This is what a healthy organization looks like. This is how you develop a number 2 pick. This is how you build a contender. In Indiana, the head coach goes on the record before Game 1 and announces that the offense is no longer running through the player who finished second in MVP voting. She talks about inverting actions and creating space for the 6th-year guard who has never been to a conference finals. She talks about Aaliyah Boston as the hub, even though Boston shot 32% from the field in the playoffs last year when teams forced her to create. Every public statement out of that coaching staff is about working around Caitlin Clark instead of with her. And the players notice. Make no mistake about that. Locker rooms talk. Veterans see when a coach is fighting against the franchise player instead of empowering her. They see when the system is designed to validate the wrong people. And they make decisions based on what they see. That's how you end up with Brianna Turner leaving in free agency. That's how you end up with veteran additions who don't fit. That's how you end up with a roster that looks worse on paper after a year of supposed building. Think about the broader implications. Caitlin Clark's contract is up after the 2027 season. She's already the most marketable athlete in women's professional sports. Her national television numbers single-handedly justified the league's new media deal. If she decides at the end of her rookie contract that Indiana is not the place where her career can flourish, the franchise loses everything that was built over the last 2 years overnight. And right now, every single signal coming out of the coaching staff suggests they have no idea how to maximize her. Or worse, that they're actively trying to prove they can win without doing so. Cheryl Reeve understands something fundamental that Stephanie White does not. When you draft a once-in-a-generation talent at point guard, you build everything around that talent. You don't ask the talent to fit into a system. You don't invent reasons to give touches to lesser players. You don't go on the record saying the action that defines her game is no longer a primary option. You get out of the way, you let her cook, and you collect rings. The Olivia Miles situation in Minnesota is a roadmap. It's proof of concept. Veteran says I'll move. Coach says she was big time. Rookie says I was received with open arms. 3 statements. Total alignment. 0 ego. That's what winning sounds like. And until somebody in Indianapolis starts speaking that language about Caitlin Clark, the Fever are going to keep finding new ways to waste the most valuable asset any WNBA franchise has ever had. So here's the question that matters. If you were Caitlin Clark, sitting in your hotel room watching Olivia Miles' debut and reading the post-game quotes from Cheryl Reeve and Courtney Williams, would you be more frustrated, more jealous, or more determined to get out of Indiana the moment your contract allows? Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me which franchise you'd rather play for right now. And tell me if you think Stephanie White makes it through this season as the head coach of the Indiana Fever. Because from where I'm sitting, the writing is already on the wall. Like the video, hit subscribe, and let's keep this conversation going.